Hello, 1047 subscribers. Today, I'm going to show you what are the best 3 offers you can sell to business clients. We'll discuss each one of them. I'll show you the structure in terms of the softwares that you can use to build them up. We'll also build a few wireframes so that you can kind of get an idea how it should work. Then I'll show you how you should reach out to the prospects to get them interested. And we'll also discuss the pricing so that you can kind of get an idea how much you should charge. Obviously, this will be based purely on my own experience. I've been running my agency for a year and a half now. And to be honest, I sold only 2 of these 3 offers. I've been reaching out to all of the clients, but for the third one, we did build the prototype, but we haven't sold the solution. And I'll explain you why so that you don't repeat my own mistakes. When we think about AI in general for business clients that you can offer either agents or automations. If you watched any of my previous videos, I always tell you guys that you do not need to differentiate yourself. You do need to go deep into the niche and narrow down, but you should not narrow down on the tool side, right? So either you're only building the automations or only building the agents, because again, it will vary based on the client. And from what I see right now, people and businesses more and more needing a very custom solution, and usually it involves both, building an agent as an interface either for an internal use or external use for their clients, and then connecting it to some sort of an automation on the back end. Now, so the first one is the roofing inspection agent for roofing companies. So this is kind of a simple agent which can be text or voice based. Text is like a chatbot and voice is like a voice assistant. It can collect customer provided data, images, description, schedule inspections like appointments, and provide repair estimates in terms of the dates when the inspection will be available, as well as the price based on the information they provided earlier. So this can be built on different platforms. For the text-based, you should use VoiceFlow, and for the voice-based solutions, if you are going to do that, you should use something like VAPI or Synthflow. So I would actually recommend you, especially if you're starting out and if you are building a very simple thing, to use just the Synthflow. I have a video on my channel. Sorry, I have a video on my channel where I connected VAPI with VoiceFlow in order to build very complex solutions. So for example, like this, right? So in VoiceFlow, you can have different intents. So let's say one intent could be a customer needed a general assistant. The second could be a customer needing an estimate or the booking. So based on the intent of the user, we can send them to different flows. It's pretty understandable when we talk about the text-based interfaces, but when we build a voice things, it's not as straightforward. Obviously, all of the platforms started to introduce some sort of a pipeline. So VAPI had introduced blocks, and they're still under the development. But you can now connect VAPI to VoiceFlow and interact with this VoiceFlow assistant using voice. But the latency is a bit higher than you would use a native VAPI interface. So, and for the most part, guys, keep it simple. I think if you just use Synthflow using their internal LLM, you should be good. Again, depending on the functionalities, but it can interact with the CRM. So on the back end, let's say to the Synthflow, you can connect their CRM. So if they're using something like a HubSpot, which is very popular, you can use Make, right, to create a scenario to trigger a webhook. And then let's say trigger the webhook, trigger this specific webhook using something like the tools on VAPI or on the Synthflow, when a user reach certain stage, you will call this webhook, and then it will retrieve information from the CRM. If it's not possible, you can upload the customer data to the, let's say, Synthflow knowledge base, but you should keep it up to date, obviously, every week, but it's not the best thing. Anyways, so what I'm saying is that you should keep it very simple and try to minimize the latency. This is a deciding factor for the businesses. Again, yes, you might, see a lot of different tutorials, and when people build really awesome solutions, they are great, but the latency is the actually deciding factor. I've reaching out to, to different businesses through cold emails, and we do offer voice AI agents, and we like test different angles for the cold emails. So we're saying, okay, so we can build an automation, we can build a voice AI agent, text-based agent. So we're testing different angles. And what I found is that when we mention the voice AI, they, since it's getting popular, they get a lot of requests for the same type of build, and they like to get on the demo. And when they get on the demo, they always ask, okay, so how fast it is. They're not like talking about the latency specific like numbers, but I found it's funny. Like for the past 2 months, I think I got like 3 requests on the sales calls when people were asking about the latency, which is kind of not super straightforward, since again, it's something technical, right? But they are aware of this thing. Again, so just try to like use the very like simple models. If you can use GPT 3.5, it's awesome, since it's going to be very snappy. Okay. Now, so for the backend, VectorShift is a platform that you can kind of build the backend on, either like, let's say if the Synthflow or VAPI knowledge base is not enough, you can connect it to VectorShift knowledge base, or you can also connect it to Voiceflow knowledge base. I created a few tutorials on how to do that, but this is a very simple interface where you can create different automations. So, but besides the knowledge base, what you can do is you can process images and files using VectorShift. So for example, again, if we are talking about images and descriptions, so let's say you're trying to build an assistant that will process user images, and based on the images provide an estimate. Again, it does sound super fancy and super cool. In reality, it's very specific task, because let's say when people will submit images, and based on the images, you will provide an estimate. It should be super accurate, and you should fine tune it like perfectly. Maybe what we did one time for the prototype. Quick disclaimer, this is the actual solution that I was not able to sell. I think if we would continue to reach out to roofing companies, we would eventually sell this. But for the prototype, what we did is we created a sequence that like create the proposal and an estimate, but put it in the draft so that their sales manager can just spend like 10 seconds going through this and see, okay, so it's valid, then send it. Because imagine if the customer will submit some sort of an image and you, like your AI, mess it up and provide a wrong pricing. So if like it will, like the customer will think that you are like not a trustworthy company, or if you're like your prices are, it'd be too much expensive, and they are gonna leave. So, and your client will lose this lose this customer. So it's not super straightforward, but we did it for the prototype. The reason why we were not able to sell this specific thing is because, again, from what I found, the companies, the service-based companies, it like kinda same thing with the dental clinics, with HVAC companies, or with roofing companies, like with solar, nature. So with all the service-based businesses, at least in the US and Canada, so there are a lot of tools, SaaS tools, like the softwares, which are specifically designed for their niche. And when we reach out to them, they always say, oh, okay, so we've been talking with this company, right? And when I Google this company, it's some random, SaaS product, which is acting like an agency. They either, white label the software, or they build their own software and like provide it as a SaaS. But they are designed for the like roofing niche. Obviously, they will work with them and not me. So if you want to work with like this type of clients, I would highly suggest you to build your landing page, build your offerings based on one thing. So when they, Google you, when they talk to you, they will see your case studies if you have them. they will see that you only work with this specific niche and you are like a professional, right? Okay, so vector shift for processing images on the backend, maybe make.com to connect all of this together. So connect, these three tools through make, or to connect like cal.com that you can use for calendars and like connecting and booking appointments, connecting everything through make. I think it's pretty understandable, right? So I have a few videos on this channel where I cover the voice AI things. I am planning to record more, so stay tuned. By the way, all of these things will have, I have a resource hub. It's free. So if you are, starting the agency or you want to test different offers, you can just sign up for my resource hub. It's here. Just get, all of the templates that I have for free for make, voice flow, as well as some custom scripts, and just use it for your own project. Okay, just as a note. Now, so like I have some videos about it. For the outreach, I think you should use primarily like cold calls and paid ads. Again, I think we are using cold emails. I haven't run either like paid ads or cold calls, so I cannot kind of advise on it properly. I am planning to run cold calls as I explained in my previous videos, but we haven't started it yet. Cold emails can work, but the problem is that these companies, these are like, you can consider them local businesses, right? And if you are kind of in SMMA niche, if you watch any of the videos on YouTube, you see that the SMMA thing started with like local businesses primarily, right? So, and even the SEO companies, marketing, like Facebook companies, content marketing companies, like all the different companies are targeting local businesses. So you will compete not on in the inbox, not only with the like companies that offer AI solutions for these businesses, but also the companies that like generally specializing in marketing to local businesses. If you are a native English speaker, from whatever, like New Zealand, Australia, US or Canada, cold calls. I would highly suggest you the cold calls. Okay, so we'll go into the script later on. Now, the second one is the invoice and PO processing for manufacturing companies. This is a very popular use case. We've built multiple solutions. It's not a dozen, I'd say maybe 6 or 7, not sure, which cover kind of similar thing. So usually these companies, the manufacturers or even wholesalers, they receive a lot of like POs, purchase orders, invoices on the email. Usually it's on the email, or it's through inside their like account system if they provide customer accounts for their clients. So let's say they receive like an email. And usually they go through this email manually, extract information, and put in the CRM and start like the production, the order, right? So it takes time. I did actually recorded multiple videos. I think not multiple, but I think like this one specifically is talking about the email automation. That this is like a simple automation that receive an email that tracks an emails from one inbox, and then if the email has like an attachment, it downloads the attachment and then it processes it and do something with it. Okay, so now let me actually so it's here. So this is one of them. This again, it's very raw demo. Pay attention. All of these scripts I will re-upload into my resource hub, so you can just import this blueprint. Now, so like let's say we are watching an email from the sender account. We can specify the sender accounts but we should not, since there's going to be different customers, and we are searching for a phrase. So let's say the email contains a phrase PO, so this automation will be triggered. We are downloading attachments from this email, then we are like uploading the file and doing certain things. So like we are downloading the attachment, like a PO, and then asking AI to analyze the PO and like extract certain information, right? So here in the prompt creation, we're asking, okay, so please format the text. So we're extracting the information, and where is it? order. Please read the analyzed attachment document. Your goal is retrieve information and how to structure this information in the like API request. So like you can do a lot of different things. As you can see, it's a pretty big prompt. So the idea is that we are asking AI to analyze the attachment and then like output it and do whatever we need. Again, this is like the demo that send an email with this structured info. But at the end, you would kind of have an HTTP request probably with some sort of an API call to their management software and put the information to their management software. Usually as a draft, the same thing as here. We don't really want to, especially if it's a manufacturer, that if we'll create the final thing in their system and it will be stored on the back end, we need to like be 100% sure that it's accurate. So it's better to kind of do the human verification and to make them spend like an additional few minutes to like verify the information, at least when we are starting out. So you can use make, obviously, because the automations are triggered automatically. So if you think about the agents are kind of interfaces that either the internal team or external clients can interact with, either voice or text. Automations are like based on the triggers that happened. So in this case, could be the trigger that is based on the watch email. We actually did one, which was, I think, triggering the webhook, which was triggering like the webhook here, something like that. And this webhook was triggered when they create, like when their client create an order inside the account that they have. This order pops up inside their system. It still has the attachments and the huge description, and all this information pass to the automation. Then we're doing certain things and then updating this order back with a summary as well as just some action to actually put it in the production. Okay, so for the Front.com, Postman, and ChatGPT, Front.com is the software that we use for, I already explained it, for like managing the emails. If businesses do receive a lot of emails, again, depending on how you're going to work with them, yes, sure, like you can, and the easiest one is just connect it to their current business email, and that's it. What you can also do is, let's say, to use something like Front. Front is a front end for an email. So you connect your email. So let's say I have Eugene@Quimple.agency. So I have the email connected here. And this is like just whatever. Okay, not going to log in. So like this is like an inbox, as you can see here. This like essentially as a Google inbox, but with a much more structured information as well. Like you have different tags, you have different folders. And why it's interesting is that if you are willing to work with the company, and no, if the company is willing to work with you on implementing this thing, because all of their people, and we actually did it for only one client. Obviously, we are using it for us, but we was working with one client and we were building them the third solution, actually the lead qualification and generation thing. And we implemented the front inside their processes. So essentially they were just using the Outlook and we connected everything into the front and we trained them to use it. So it's beneficial because when they see an email, they can just mark the email as whatever, like send to AI. And you can inside front, where's it? Solutions, technology, logistics. Yeah, so like they have essentially like automations, right? So you can trigger when this happens. So when the status of the, or whatever, like when this lead goes to this folder, trigger this automation. So, and this automation triggers the webhook in Make. Okay, so it's pretty easy and pretty straightforward. For like, yeah, so I have this, reach out, just cold emails. Cold calls, I don't think gonna work because usually these are like the companies that, like, you can think, how do you actually get the phone numbers for the cold calls? So usually you are scraping something like an Apollo or whatever, like Zoom Info. And usually these softwares have the phone numbers of the companies. So if you're gonna call, it's very hard to reach out to the decision maker. So yeah, so like I found that the cold calls, again, I not found since I haven't tested any other method long enough, But yeah, so like I would suggest you to do the cold calls, and we'll discuss how you can structure the actual outreach later on when we finish with the third one. Third one, lead qualification automation for B2B sales teams. So like automatically score and qualified leads based on the interactions data. By the way, I don't have any videos on this channel where I cover this specific topic. Please, if you want me to do that, comment down below. Okay, so say I want to see this thing. If I will get like 10 comments or whatever, I will like literally do it in a few days. I'll explain why. Because I have a lot of videos coming soon. So if you are interested in this, because I'm not sure if you guys do. So if you do, let me know in the comments. If it gets enough traction, I will record it this week. Anyways, so the idea is that let's say you're working with a sales company from sales team in the B2B company, or the sales company like an agency or whatever. Like that's why, as you can see here in the outreach, I put the cold emails as well as the cold DMs. I'm not a big fan of cold DMs, but they do work if you are working with the companies that like actively using social media themselves. So obviously, like manufacturers will not have, they might have like a whatever, like they will have LinkedIn and maybe Instagram, which is probably not the case, but they to reach out, you should not reach out to them this way. But if you're working with a marketing company, they usually, the bigger marketing companies do have some sort of a digital presence, so you can reach out to them this way. So essentially, this is an automation that will analyze the prospects that are coming and either qualify them if you have enough details or research them. Okay. It is a very complicated topic, so let's actually define it. First, obviously, it's probably going to be built on top of Make, or not on top, like this is not an interface, but just to connect different dots. But this is the most interesting part. So what the interface will look like. And you have a lot of different ways. So these are the common three. So let's say you have Airtable, N8A, N8N, or VoiceFlow. You can also use it with VectorShift. I didn't do any tutorials on N8N. We did actually use it for a few projects. This is like the new account that I have. If you're interested, again, put your desire in the comments. So like the idea is that how will you input the information? So let's say there is a lead, right? So here, and you need to qualify this lead. So should you go and let's say you have like a base, and let's say they submit a form, and then this form goes to the Airtable, like pops up the information here, whatever, right? So you put the email. Okay, so where is it? Email. So you put like the email, and then so what should happen is that when the prospect is in the Airtable, it will trigger the automation to qualify the prospect on the backend, and we'll discuss how it will look like. So, or they go manually, right? So they found the prospect somewhere, or they were on the call. So, and while they, like the sales team on the call, they input all the information here, or whatever, like what you can also do. Let's say they use, again, the HubSpot or whatever CRM. So they mark this lead somehow, and then it goes to like Airtable and populates the row here. Okay, like again, this is what we call an interface, how you should interact with this thing. For the N8N, it's kind of, obviously it doesn't look like a spreadsheet, it more looks like a form that people can interact with, or it could be just a simple chatbot. So for example, let's say that you're building a flow and you're asking AI. So, okay, like you kind of get all the details. So you are capturing like all the information, like what are you interested in? Okay, so I think you got the idea, right? So what you're interested, you're capturing this information into the last user utterance. Then you're doing the set AI step. You're asking, okay, analyze the last utterance. And identify what user needs, then update the variable, and then whatever. Anyways, so let's say you capture all this information through the chatbot. Why I did not mention it at first, because I think it's very rare use case. For example, you need to have, in order for that to work, it might work, but in order for you to sell this thing and for the company to pay you money for it, it needs to have the value. So if they have just one person looking at their website per month or per whatever week, it's probably not the case, right? So they would not spend $3,000-$4,000 on this thing. Anyways, so let's say that you captured all of this information, and then you can obviously trigger the make webhook and start this automation. Create the webhook, trigger this webhook, pass all the information from your captured step. Then let's say you're triggering the webhook, you're passing this information, then you can obviously do the same thing as a backup. So you can use the Airtable. So the populate the record, where is it? Whatever. Update the record, absurd. Yeah, so you create the record and then you do an automation. Okay, so I think you got the idea. So the interface, how will clients interact with this thing? So this is the first part. Second part, which is the hardest one, how would you actually qualify the prospects? Because your favorite YouTubers gurus might sell you the idea that, okay, well, you can create a simple agent that will ask the questions and this will be a qualification process. Yeah, kinda, but we would need, again, something more advanced. We have two softwares, Clay and Apollo. Apollo is just the thing where you can find leads, right, and information about these leads and the prospects. So this is the database of whatever, 50 million or 27 million contacts. And the Clay is the personalization software. Okay, so I don't want to log in now. So the idea is that when you captured all the information, so let's say the prospect provided you here, where is it? So the prospect provided you the email, for example, right? So the email plus description. So you have this information about the prospect. So let's say you captured it through the chatbot or whatever. You populated the record in Airtable. So what's next, right? So you have all this information. Now you need to qualify the prospect. You have the email and the data, let's say the name. What you can do, you can create an API calls to either Clay. So Clay don't have, if you're using Make, obviously Clay is still very new, so they don't have a I think they don't have a direct integration with here, but they have the webhooks. But the Apollo does have it. As you can see, it's even verified, and they have a lot of actions. So you create an action that will pass the information to Apollo, and then find the information. Usually we did it, sorry, I cannot talk about Apollo since we haven't done it through Apollo, since on the back end of Clay we have the Apollo. So the Clay is again, so let's see here. Okay, I think you will be let me zoom in. Okay, so here, so you do see, right? So this is kind of like a spreadsheet, and you have different columns. So let's say one column is the email. The next column will be the column which is connected to Apollo. The next column which is connected on the backend to LinkedIn. So when you input the email into one column, let's say just the email column, it will try to find an information about this prospect from all of the different databases that you input. So let's say on the backend, it will try to find this email in the database of Apollo and retrieve, let's say, the company name, the company size. Obviously, if you are capturing the lead, so they will provide the company name. So what you can also do is you can, search for a company name. You can tell me, okay, Eugene, but you can also ask all of these things during the qualification process here, right? So what's your company size? Where are you located? So what's your website? So all of these things. Yes, but bigger the form, less people are going to fill it out, there might be some mistakes, especially if we are talking about the agent. So when we have an email, we can run it through different databases to to first verify if it's a valid email, and second, to find all the information possible about this specific prospect as well as the company they work for. And then let's say you have the chunk of the information. Let's say you do the HTTP request. So usually it would be like that. So you trigger the automation, you pass all of these things. Then you do the HTTP request to make it a request. So you are doing the request to Clay, right? So you put, and usually it's going to be post. So you are posting the information to Clay. Then Clay runs the automation on the backend, verifying the prospect. And when the verification is finished, it will trigger another webhook, and it will be another automation and pass all the information about this prospect to the second automation. So now you will have an automation which is triggered, which has all the information about this prospect, right? And let's say here, you should also, besides the information that you got from the webhook, so let's say you pass the name, email, phone, and the date, whatever, like the company description, or the services they are interested in. You, let's say, created the record in Airtable. So you pass all of these things into the Clay as well as the Airtable record, because for the second automation that will be run through the make again, that will be triggered from the Clay, you will also pass all the information that the Clay found as well as the Airtable record ID. And now you can just create the Airtable update the record, and you can, since you already have the record ID, you will use it here. So this is I know it's kind of confusing. Sorry, I am planning to record like an in-depth video on this topic because it's very complex. Okay, so, and how you reach out again, so like cold emails and cold DMs. Now, for the actual outreach things that you can do, as well as the pricing for the AI agent, for the roofing companies, I think you should charge somewhere between $2,000 to $4,000. I think the price depends on the company size. It's very linear. So the development process is linear for any company. Obviously, bigger the company, more kind of tools they will have, more incoming inquiries they will receive. So kind of the process might be a bit complex, but still, it's like the same tools, the same templates. So you should, bigger the company is, bigger you charge. This is the first thing. And then you kind of charge, $300 to $500 per month on the retainer. Again, if it's a smaller company, you can charge just $200. Let's say that 50 will go to the token usage and the platform, and then 150 is your profit. Okay, so for the outreach, again, I am not the cold calling expert and the sales scripter. So I would say that when you call, you say, "Hey, how are you?" Whatever, "Hey, this is the cold call. We can automate your roofing requests and the collecting data from the customer," something like that. Are you interested to continue this conversation? Again, I think it's a horrible sales script. You can watch any of the YouTube tutorials on the cold calls. It's a well-known niche, and you have a lot of different videos and gurus that can provide you some guidelines. Okay, I can just tell you for what you can do for the cold emails. So for the cold emails, for this thing, so your email should be structured like that. So essentially you have hi, John. Then you kind of do some sort of personalization. Are you currently managing all your POs manually, something like that. And then we can say something we can build you an AI agent, something like that. Are you interested? Are you AI agent? Are you interested? Let me know. Again, this is probably not gonna work because lacks of personalization. So this should be the thing that you actually personalize it for. So more research you do about the company, it's better. So, but yeah, like if you do, like if you think, like let's say you have all the time in the world, and let's say you have whatever, like 100 hours per day that you can work. If you do like 200 emails offer to the like wholesaler, to the manufacturer companies, and you actually do the research, go to the website and think yourself how AI can be applied for their specific use case, and you do it here when you like mention, okay, so I visited your website, because everyone says they visited the website, but then the next sentence is generalized, so everyone is used to it. But if you will do something very specific that there's no way can be automated, I bet that you will get probably like 4 or 5% replay rate. I have like much lower replay rate since we're not doing that. But if you are willing to spend all the money, all the time, yeah, so you will get a pretty good replay rate, and so like expect 20-30% positive reply rate. So you can book the calls. Then you can schedule the demos. So let's say you will like build a demo for whatever, like for $300 to like $500, and then for the actual thing, really depends on the company size. I would say it's somewhere between $4,000 to $7,000 one-time payment plus let's say something like $500 to $800 on the management side, because again there will be probably some manual work involved, and it depends on who's gonna do that. So either their team will manage everything and like on the processing side, and you manage the technical side, or you're managing both, so you will negotiate the price. Okay, so I think you should get the idea on how it's gonna work. Okay, let me undo that. Anyways, so for the lead qualification automation things, very hard. This is probably the solution that you're gonna build for the bigger monthly retainers. So for the build, I would say it's $500 to $1,000. Again, guys, the hardest part here is just to have and set up the Clay and set up the Apollo, link it up together. Clay is a very expensive software. So like even for their like lowest plans, right? So it's like is this, but I think we have, I'm not sure. I think we have two accounts with these plans. It's better that to get this. Anyways, it's not in terms of the credits, but you have some additional benefits. Anyways, so it's very expensive software, and if you like, you can charge your margin and then tell them that they need to sign up for the software. You will set everything up, and then you will kind of charge, let's say, $1,000 to $2,000 on the retainer. Again, you will charge a bigger retainer because it will provide them information about the prospects, and usually, I would say from my experience, they will not just wait for the leads to come in and to qualify them, because most of the agencies do not have that big of an incoming traffic. So I think they will, kinda, if you can't do that. So like this is kind of a very similar process what we do for like our cold emails. So they will probably ask you, okay, so but do you do the outreach? Can you like generate the leads? And then you can, if you have an experience of running the cold emails, if you watched any of my previous tutorials, maybe you already tried it for your agency, then you can do kind of the same thing for them and add, let's say, another 1 to 2K, and then the retainer is kind of like 2.5, 3K, and now it's like a full-end SMMA retainer client, right? Okay, guys, I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments, ask all of your questions. Resource Hub is free, obviously. First link in the description. Thanks for watching. Peace.